Pro Tools makes it easier than ever to move your sessions between different audio interfaces, different computers, and different studios, and you do that all under the I/O settings option. Under the I/O settings, you will find this option at the bottom that reads Sessions Overwrite Current I/O Setup when opened. If this is checked, Pro Tools will import any I/O settings from your session and overwrite the current setup that you have. And you can always import settings again from somewhere else. If, however, that's unchecked, then Pro Tools will try and map the settings from the old session to the settings for the new session. Let me show you how that works. I'm still in my 828 session that I used in the last video. I want to now run this same session on a system with HD. Let's assume for now it's this particular computer. So I'll go under Hardware and I'll choose the HD TDM playback engine. Now when I switch between Core Audio and HD, I have to quit Pro Tools and reopen it. And it's asking me if I want to do that now, and I will say yes. So now we're back in Pro Tools. We're now running using my HD hardware, and I will open up the previous session. Pro Tools gives me a warning that says that the previous session used a Motu 828, but I want to use my current engine, which is the HD engine, and so I'm going to click No. Now I'll get a warning saying that the I/O settings have been mapped, and do I want to save a report? I'll say no to that. And now let's look under I/O settings and see what happened. First of all, under the Output tab, you can see there's this Show Last Saved Setup. And that switches between the current setup using my 96 I/O and the previous setup using my 828. So even though I may not have an 828 hooked up to the current computer, I can still see how the last session was set up. And then on the buses page, you can see that the old buses and outputs have been mapped to new outputs. And this is done automatically. Pro Tools attempts to do it as best as it can, and it's done a pretty good job here, mapping the surround outputs to the surround outputs and the stereo to the stereo and so forth. And now when I play the session back, everything is working perfectly. Now, of course, if Pro Tools didn't do the I/O mapping correctly, or if I want to make any changes, I can just go to that same bus tab and map things differently. So I select an output or a bus, and over on the right-hand side, I select where I want to map it. And I can check it if I want to use it or uncheck it if I don't. And that's all there is to it. This will really come in handy if you're moving sessions between different studios or different computers.